In the next 60 minutes, your news night, following weeks of uncertainty at public hospitals across the country that compels the return of cash and carry in some facilities. Tonight, the Health Ministry has referred the $100 million Lightwave Health Information Management System contract to the Attorney General while announcing the introduction of a new system.
The AG's advice is maybe what will end us or what will make us retrieve whatever we need to retrieve from the vendor. But I can assure you that the AG will expedite action on this matter because it's an emergency.
But what is the cost of the new system?
When you look at the details of the contract, how much it costs the state to do what we are going to do, we are going to use half. We are going to use half of what they use to do what we are going to do.
Also tonight, Speaker of Parliament threatens to declare seats of several absentee MPs vacant as Parliament continued to record very low attendance.
Please, we have the standing orders. We know what they say. We'll be taking action to make sure that we compel members to sit or to be considered to have vacated their seats.
And tonight, in the latest episode of our Dear Mahama series, we'll take you to Elmina, where residents are crying out to President Mahama as many are forced to use sachet water for bathing and cooking.
So this government is doing well for us or what? Let the water flow. That is what we need. I will speak to him directly.
Plus, major towns across the central region still reeling from worsening water crisis driven by the relentless activities of illegal miners along key river bodies, with the latest being Yamoransa, where families spend over 7 days queuing with buckets, desperate for a drop of water in business.
Economics Professor Peter Korte cautions against Bank of Ghana's fixation on sharply reducing inflation at the detriment of job creation.
I'll take your views and comments here on News Night 05511119997. My name is Mensah, and we have the very latest for you all here on News Night right after this. It's all live here on News Night on Joy 99.7 FM, and later we'll explore why no school from the 5 northern regions made it to the NSMQ 2025 quarterfinals, all here on News Night. It has been weeks of uncertainty at public hospitals across the country, with some health facilities compelled to adopt the dreaded cash and carry system. Well, tonight, Health Minister Mensah has announced the introduction of a new health information management system after the current service providers took the system offline. Mr. Kando says he has already referred the service provider, Lightwave Health Information Management System, to the Attorney General following an audit of its contract. The software, which enables hospitals to access patient records, verify NHIS details, and process clinical and administrative information efficiently, reducing paperwork and delays, has been down for weeks. Senior Project Manager at Lightwave e-Healthcare Solutions, Erica J., had explained to JoyNews this week why the system is currently down.
Currently, it is mainly administrative and contractual issues. Now, we tried as much as possible to get audience with the minister to let them know where we are and then the way forward. We didn't hear anything. Then all of a sudden, we received complaints from facilities that, oh, you are doing an audit and you are not informing us, and we said we are not aware. People paraded hospitals, initially pretending as Lightwave staff.
Well, today, speaking at the Government Accountability Series at the Jubilee House, the Health Minister says a March 2019 contract worth $100 million required Lightwave e-Health Solutions to deploy a comprehensive health information management system across 950 health facilities nationwide. However, only 450 facilities were covered, despite a $77 million payment representing over 70% of the contract sum and a 2-year extension that ended in December 2024. Now, the National Health Insurance Authority had also expressed concern about the system downtimes affecting patient services.
Again, I have stated that the contract sum was $100 million. At the end of 31st December 2024, although 450 out of the 950 had been connected, the vendor had been paid about $77 million. Clearly, more than 70% of the total amount had been paid, and less than 50% of the work has been done. At that point, we had to refer everything to the AG and the appropriate quarters, including the security, for advice and appropriate action. Let me state that since we began this journey, all stakeholders have been on board. So from the CEOs of teaching hospitals, medical superintendent, IOCO, AG, Minister for Communication, everybody has been on board. And so the issues of legality and the security issues have been referred to the AG for advice and the appropriate action. So the AG's advice is maybe what will end us or what will make us retrieve whatever we need to retrieve from the vendor. But I can assure you that the AG will expedite action on this matter because it's an emergency.
Well, there are questions tonight about the cost of the new health information management system announced by the health minister today. Mr. Kando has been providing answers.
New contract, how much? When we went through and let me make the point that we are not starting everything afresh. It is only the software we are dealing with. The software and how we can own the software, the integration, and the middleware. That's what we're dealing with. So we are building on the infrastructure. The infrastructure has already been established. And so we're not going to go back to buy new laptops and what have you. So where we are, when you look at the details of the contract, how much it costs the state to do what we are going to do, we are going to use half. We are going to use half of what they use to do what we are going to do. So I can assure you that there's value for money.
I want to bring in Presidential Affairs Correspondent Maxwell Ababa, who was at the Jubilee House for us today for that news conference. He joins us right now on the line. Maxwell, did the minister provide any clarity when the hospitals that are currently experiencing the system blackout, when they should be back online and serving patients with this information management system?
Evans, he said they are working around the clock to mitigate the challenge. He says the plan going forward is clear. In the first week, the ministry will begin with the teaching hospitals, the regional hospitals, and the major district hospitals with the highest patient volumes. He said these institutions will be the first to be fully integrated into the system. Now, in the second week, they will extend the rollout to the remaining district hospitals. And then by the third week, the focus will shift to the clinics, health centers, and CHIPS compounds across the country. He said, finally, in the fourth week, they will complete the process and ensure full functionality and access for all.
And so today we have GAMES, and the GAMES is Ghana Health Information Management System, and not for any individual. The next solution was the fact that there was nothing like any exchange. And so we have established an exchange where even if we invite any vendor in, the vendor will then plug in, and we don't have any vendor, we don't have a direct integration to our billing system or to any other sector. You necessarily will have to go through the exchange. The system was monopolized. It was only one person we were dealing with. What is the solution? The solution again is that out of the 950 health facilities, only 450 have been connected, and therefore we have an outstanding of about 500 health facilities. Going forward, we will open up for companies and players in the sector to bid, provided they meet the necessary requirements. In the next 1 week, we are going to begin with the teaching hospitals, the regional hospitals, and the highly populated district hospitals to roll them over onto the system, the GAMES. In the second week, we'll be looking at the rest of the district hospitals, and then in the third week, we'll be looking at the polyclinics, the health centers, and the CHIPS. In the fourth week, we'll do the mop-ups. So I am confidently announcing to the good people of this country that we have a 4 weeks plan that will get us out of this mess.
And Maxwell, he's also accusing the company behind the existing system that is currently offline of blackmail. Tell us more.
Yes, Evans. He said that even at the time the contract with Lightwave expired, the ministry was ready to sign a service and maintenance agreement covering all 450 health facilities so they could continue with work. He explained that the draft agreement stated clearly that before any such contract could be signed, the vendor was required to hand over all health data to the states and grant the ministry full administrative access to the service. He says that the vendor insisted on the removal of those clauses, a request the ministry refused because they believe the state must retain full control and ownership of its data. He said as a result of that, the vendor allegedly took it upon himself to switch off the system at will and make demands as he pleased.
These disruptions and the shutdowns we are experiencing, although we didn't have any contract with the vendor as at the time we took over, we indicated to the vendor that the ministry was ready to sign service maintenance agreements covering the 450 health facilities. In the agreement, we indicated that before we sign such an agreement with you, you have to hand over the data to the state, and you must give us administrative access to the service. The vendor insisted that those clauses must be expunged from the agreement. We cannot expunge those clauses from the agreement because it is the state that must take charge of these data. So the vendor decided to switch the system of as and when he desires and as and when he demands what. And this has gone on for some time now, more than 2 months. And for the past 2 weeks or so, the system has been completely down. If this is not blackmailing, I don't know what it is.
Well, if you have been affected by this, I want to hear from you. And the last time we did this story, we were in the hospitals, and many of you complained to us that you're now being forced to pay out of pocket because they cannot verify your records. Share your thoughts with me if you've experienced this. 055-11-11997. Tonight, Speaker of Parliament Abang Babing has issued a stern warning to MPs to show up for work or risk having their seats declared vacant. The Constitution provides that MPs who are absent themselves for 15 days without permission from the Speaker will vacate their seats. Now, since Parliament resumed last week, the House has been recording low numbers, just as it has been the whole of this year. Speaking at the start of proceedings this morning, the Speaker said he will enforce the attendance rules strictly in this meeting.
It's for good reason we decided that we'll sit in the afternoons so that you can take the morning to attend to committees, prepare your reports, attend to your constituents, and that by 2, then you'll be ready to sit. Again, that's the period you can also interact with the ministries, because there is a time established by law for public servants to report to work and to close from work. And so that is a good time for you to have the opportunity to interact and change things for and on behalf of your constituents. It's for these good reasons we decided to start sitting at 2. I also encourage the fact that the time people are working, they do not have opportunity to observe you and participate in whatever you do. But in the evenings, they have the opportunity to sit, watch, advise you, and also make some inputs. That, again, we are not taking advantage of. I'm saying this for the last time. I've given directive to the clerks at table to take the records for this meeting. And please, we have the standing orders. We know what they say. We'll be taking action to make sure that we compel members to sit or to be considered to have vacated their seats.
Parliamentary Affairs Correspondent Kweku Asante is with me in the studio. Kweku, how bad is it?
Evans, it's very bad. In fact, since the start of the meeting, the House has barely recorded 50 or even 60 members of Parliament out of the 276 at every point in time. Of course, almost the next day when you look, when you look at the other paper, the votes and proceedings of the next day, it will show that so many people were present, but it would appear they came, they signed later. But on the floor itself, you barely have up to 100 on the floor. That is maximum. In fact, just when we're leaving, before the House will adjourn for the day, there were just about 30, 35 MPs on the floor. And you know, they always say that quorum is dependent on the mood of the House. So when the minority feel like they are issues they are very pressed about, they will raise issues of quorum. Other than that, they don't. They just go about their business as usual as that. The Speaker of Parliament says the people of Ghana are not happy about that, and MPs must show up to work.
I'm not happy the way members value plenary sessions. You yourself, those of you who are always here, I see from your faces that you are with me in this matter. Before usually I commence proceedings, I always take account of those present. I'm not happy with the situation. I did indicate from the very beginning of this meeting that I have the records of attendance for the first meeting and the second meeting. I decided for good reason not to publish them, but to give you the last opportunity. It looks like that is a catastrophic mistake I made. I should have brought it out and referred members to the Privileges Committee.
And there's a fascinating incident unfolding in Parliament on this matter. The House decided to sit at 2 p.m. to get MPs to be punctual. I remember having this, back and forth with yourself because we're not sure when do you report for work because your job is there as a beat correspondent. Now, that didn't work. Yeah. They have decided to revert to 10 a.m.?
Yes. In fact, last week, the majority leader, when he was presenting the business statement, decided that the House has now decided to come back to 10 a.m. Because the plan for 2 p.m. was to ensure that MPs, because MPs had claimed that the reason why they were absent at 10 a.m. was because they had to go and lobby for projects at ministries, department, agencies, go all over the place. And so that affected their time. Maybe they have committee meetings. So they decided that between morning and 2 p.m., you could do all of that and then dedicate the rest of the day to chamber business. That hasn't worked. Because, in fact, the attendance has even gotten worse. As the majority leader himself conceded last week, by 2 p.m., MPs are exhausted after going around, supposedly lobbying for their constituents, and then there is not much to be done on the floor. They go home or they are sitting in their office. They are just resting. And so the new proposal is that they revert to 10 a.m. In fact, that has been approved by the House, but they say they have to do further consultation with the Speaker. That's why they are still sitting at 2 p.m. And so they've also raised concerns about their health. They say when they sit at 2 p.m., they have to close at 8, 9. By the time they go home, it's 10 o'clock. They are getting sick and all of that. So they've gone back to 10 a.m. It has to take effect perhaps next week when the budget is presented and all the business then start piling on. But still, attendance is particularly poor. If you look at the video from the aerial view in Parliament, it's always a few MPs together with the leadership who are transacting business. And the whole of this year, that has been a story with Parliament.
Is there an indication there is a record in Parliament to suggest that some of the MPs, since this particular session of Parliament began, whether they have really breached that 15 continuous sittings in Parliament, absence in Parliament, rule in the Constitution, that should automatically trigger vacation?
Yeah, from our analysis of the data, it would appear so, but we are still trying to triangulate the data so that you get specifically which MPs are that. The Speaker herself conceded in the sounds you've played that in fact he has records of some MPs who may have breached that constitutional provision, who may have absented themselves for more than 15 days. But he has decided that there's some clemency ongoing. But this particular meeting is going to enforce that. In fact, since Parliament resumed 2 weeks ago, I know MPs who have not been in the House. They've not been there once. Sometimes the next morning, the other paper come, the votes and proceedings, somehow they've signed, they are up, they are present. Today like this, I could count 40, 45. Tomorrow, when the votes and proceedings come, it will be 230 MPs present out of 275. Then you wonder where were they? Maybe they'll see they were in some committee meeting or the other. And that is what Parliament would have to get clear, whether or not when you're out and about, perhaps you come after Parliament has closed and then you just go to the table office and then you go and sign your name. Does that apply to say that you've come to Parliament? The Speaker will have to answer that question.
I want to bring in Dr. Rashid Rahman, Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, into the conversation now. Joins us via Zoom. And Doc, this is a failure of the Speaker, is it not? Because this problem has a very simple solution. We wrote it into our Constitution that if you absent yourself from Parliament for 15 sittings, you automatically vacate your seat. He hasn't enforced that. Isn't that why this persists?
Yes, I mean, indeed, Evan. So I think there are serious challenges to this. So the speaker can enforce this through the privileges committee. I mean, people have to be heard. Once you violate that rule in the standing orders and then in the constitution, the matter is referred to the privileges committee, and then the rest follows. But I have told the speaker and I've told other leaders of parliament that, look, it looks like we have gotten to a point where members of parliament who constitute this privileges committee cannot look their colleagues in the face and say you have broken the law, and for that matter, your seat is declared vacant. So I have said that, look, maybe it's about time we decided otherwise and try to see, for instance, maybe what is happening in other countries where there are parliamentary committees that are made up of members who are not just simply members of parliament, but eminent citizens of that republic, so that they can sit in judgment over breaches by members of parliament. Because if we leave this in the hands of MPs, this is not going to happen unless I hope that this time around the speaker is going to be radical in his approach to this, so that there is no dancing around when these matters go to the privileges committee and people actually lose their seats, unless something radical happens, Evans. Because this issue is not an issue of the ninth parliament. It's been an issue since the fifth parliament. I remember since Bamford Addo, every speaker after speaker, they've complained about this, yet nothing really has happened.
It's because of that a whole NGO was then formed, a civil society group was then formed to keep track of
Odikro, yes.
Odikro, exactly. Because it persisted for so long, we now wanted to name and shame. Because the MPs themselves, together with the speaker, had failed to act. And you're right. If the speaker has to be radical, it's simple, as you know, because the 15 sittings is a matter of record that can be verified very easily, and the sanctions enforced. It is not open to debate or questions, because it's so evident. If you have 15 days and you haven't been in parliament, the speaker, many say, lost an opportunity to enforce this in the Adjust for case. And that showed to many that, listen, you can get away with murder. We hire them, we pay them, they don't work, and we still pay them more.
Yeah, and indeed, Evans, I think you are right. So I think we are just hypocrites in our country. I mean, let me just be blunt about this. What seems to be clear to you and I in very plain, simple language. You remember when the speaker declared those 4 seats vacant during the run-up to the 2024 elections. This matter got to the court, and there were all kinds of interpretations being given to it. I mean, hypocritically, in terms of, this is clear language. You vacate your seat if you decide to contest on, but, it was given a different meaning altogether. And I think in this particular case of the 15 days, very clear to you and I. But if we are not careful, people will start running to court, and then we put politics ahead of decency and ahead of the development of our country. But I totally agree that this time around, I think it's becoming embarrassing, especially with the huge majority that the NDC has. I mean, recently, I think on the first day of the sitting of this meeting of Parliament, I think the NDC was challenged that, look at your back. I mean, you don't even have 30 members of Parliament in the House. I mean, what's going on?
Dr. Rashid Draman, thank you very much. He's Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. And I want to hear from you. These are your MPs. You employ them. You pay them. And as you're hearing, they are not showing up for work. And they haven't done so for a long, long time. The Speaker is complaining. but the Constitution empowers him to act. Send me a WhatsApp 055-1111-997. Still ahead here on News 9. The latest episode in a series we call Dear Mahama. We take you to Elmina, where residents are crying out to the President Mahama, as many are forced to use sachet water for bathing and cooking.
So this government is doing well for us or what? Let the water flow. That is what we need. I will speak to him directly.
And major towns across the central region reeling from a worsening water crisis driven by the relentless activities of illegal miners along key river bodies such as the Pra and Ayeksu rivers. The latest is Yamoransa, where families spend over 7 days queuing with buckets, desperate for a drop of water. All that after business with James. Hello.
Hi, Evans. Coming up in business, economist Professor Peter Korte cautions against Bank of Ghana's fixation on sharply reducing inflation at the detriment of job creation. An Association of Ghana Industries appeals to government to cede more contracts to local private businesses to help reduce import. We have details from the Ghana Economic Forum. Business News on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all office essentials, Syntex tanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. Welcome back. My name is James Ish, and we settle for the details now. Former Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Korte, is cautioning government against pursuing rapid reductions in inflation at the expense of economic growth and job creation. Speaking at the launch of the State of the Ghanaian Economy report in Accra, Professor Korte noted that while lowering inflation is important for macroeconomic stability, an overly aggressive approach could stifle business activity and slow down recovery efforts. His comment follows remarks by the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, who indicated that inflation is expected to decline further in the coming month.
I think the key thing is that given how we have performed from the year to date, I think it's fair to say that we seem to be on track in terms of meeting our fiscal targets. Okay, so fiscal consolidation is on track. And again, for 2024, we started the year thinking about the fact that it's an election year, and therefore, in election year, we tend to be a bit loose.
We apologize for the wrong insert. We'll get to that respective voice in our subsequent bulletin. Now, President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Humphrey Nyimdaki, has urged the government to support local enterprises through procurement to reduce Ghana's dependence on import. Speaking at the 14th Ghana Economic Forum 2025, he noted that the country's import reliance is hurting foreign exchange reserves and called for stronger investment for local industries.
One would have thought that local content that made MTN and the telecom industry successful today, that is one of the most competitive enterprises we have in Ghana as the telecom sector. But when you do not allow local content to operate, say, in cocoa board, where today all our cocoa sacks are imported, with that procurement power, we should have had about 3-4 cocoa sack producing companies.
You mean we're importing sacks?
Oh, yes. You don't know that?
100%.
And the backward integration into kernel farming, that would have created a value chain backwards.
Humphrey Nyimdaki as the president of the Association of Ghana Industries. Now, Ghana Breweries PLC has posted outstanding financials for its year ended June 30, 2025. The company recorded profit after tax of 334 million cedis, underscoring Ghana's resilience in the company's 65-year history in the country. The company declared a dividend payment of 10 pesos per share. Board chair Felix Addo said strong cost controls contributed to the remarkable turnover. He made a statement at the company's 53rd annual general meeting held at the Guinness premises in Accra.
Cost improvements is a key factor. I'd like to also say that managing the financing element, as you know, we do get some inputs abroad. Very little, but still significant. And because of the strengthening of the cedi, our financing cost went down somewhat. We also took price in some of our products like Guinness. We had to occasionally or continuously mark up the price. So we did get some price increases also. But at the end of the day, a good strategic management, hard efforts by our team, the staff team, in terms of cost efficiencies, all aided. We combine the recognition and reputation of the Diageo brands, and we have the might and capacity of Castel Group to support us. So, fair sailing.
Felix Ado is the board chair of Guinness Ghana Breweries PLC. Now, Deco Craft, a proud Ghanaian chocolate producer, has pledged to stick to quality sourcing in order to provide customers with the best product. The company will be showcasing their product at the EcoBank Joy Business SME Fair, which takes place from Friday, October 31 to Sunday, November 2 at the Good Park near Accra Mall. Ahead of the fair, General Manager of Deco Craft, Stephen Nass, said the company is prepared to offer customers amazing discount.
At Deco Craft, what we do is we produce specialized handmade chocolates, in fact healthy chocolate, to our clients or consumers, having in mind the healthy aspect of it. At Deco Craft, we have chocolates in different flavors and ranges. So when we talk about the bar chocolates, we have dark bar chocolates and we have milk bar chocolates. This year's EcoBank Joy Business SME Fair, which is going to take place somewhere around 31st October to 2nd November, is going to be fun, and I'm going to be there. So please try and come, book a date. There you can have so many crazy deals going on, deals you never expected, sales at the lowest price you can think of.
Stephen Na as the General Manager of Deco Craft, a proud Ghanaian chocolate producer. And that's all for business on Newsnight with me, James H.N. Evans.
James, thank you very much. It's still live. Your Newsnight is on Joy 99.7 FM. A few of your messages on our WhatsApp console. Samuel says, on a more serious note, our parliamentarians need to sit up. I suggest a weekly publication of attendance in the national dailies. And this has no name but says those who sign the National Health Insurance contract must be held accountable. Why should a private company hold citizens' biometric details? David in Akachi South. If taxpayers' tax wasted on absentee MPs, then I don't know where we're going as a country. They shouldn't take us for granted. Guy Fawkes in Tema says, is it not clear to all by now that the poor attendance of MPs in Parliament indicates clearly how seriously they take their jobs? This is a classic impunity in power. After all, what can we do as a people to them? Are we even interested in taking action as citizens? And I'll take more of your messages, 055-11-11997. We can now hear from the Paramount Chief of Nkusukum Traditional Area, who will be speaking to us about the challenges they are facing when in dealing with the problem of illegal mining pretty shortly. But he's been speaking in the context, he's been speaking about the challenge of dealing with people who are destroying their water bodies. In Elmina, water has become a luxury. Elderly residents now roam the town, desperate to find fuel liters to survive. Families are forced to rely on sachet water to cook and even to bath. There's more in our series titled Dear Mahama, Stop Galamsey.
Water has become a luxury. For weeks, taps have run dry, and for many here in the central region, even a single bucket of water is a blessing. For hours, 72-year-old Jennifer does the waste by the tap, the same one she's visited every morning this week. Sometimes it flows at dawn, and sometimes not at all. She does not leave, because if she does, she will miss the moment it opens. At her age, the search for water has become her daily routine. When the tap fails, she turns to sachet water, 2 sachets to rinse her cassava, 2 more to boil it, each one costing money she does not have. But what choice does she have? Grandma Jennifer's struggle is not hers alone. Across Elmina, hundreds wake up to the same search, buckets in hand, hope in heart. They all say one thing: this suffering must end. With the River Bra heavily polluted by illegal mining, the Setrahiman water treatment plant is struggling to draw enough raw water. The result? Rationing, shortages, and rising frustrations. We met a man moving from house to house, buckets in hand, searching for water. After several stops, he gave up, bought 3 cedis worth of sachet water, and went home to bath. 6 sachets. That's what it takes for a bath now. He did not want to speak on camera, but his silence said enough. Mabinatu has not seen the bathroom today. Like many others, she's been waiting since morning, hoping the tap would open, even for a few minutes. Her last proper bath was 2 days ago. Elizabeth manages a small private water business started by her late father. Her home has now become a gathering point for dozens of residents. The people of Elmina are not asking for much, just water to drink, to cook, and to live. They say the promise by governments to stop illegal mining must not remain a campaign promise. It must be action that brings water back to their homes. Emmanuel Jivenu, JoyNews, Elmina, Central Region.
Well, there's an appeal now for drastic measures to stop illegal mining. Listen to the Paramount Chief.
Masasu Masabande say you buy a good den of forest reserve the maying room inside no maying room.
I will appeal to the government to stop mining in forest reserves and water bodies at all costs. Today, communities such as Yamoransa, Achimfo, Mankasim and Cape Coast face severe water shortages. In Yamoransa, there has been no water for about 7 days. When I asked about the erratic supply, they said Galamsey has destroyed the water bodies.
What's the Galamsey for no? And I was saying Sunina, Honorable Minister, Wadaruma, Bomazi, Nakawiduma, Riano.
Let's speak to Eric Stanley Aqua. He's MC for Fantiman, joins us on the line right now. So, how is your assembly dealing with this problem? Hello, Eric.
Hello, sir.
Yes. How is the assembly dealing with the problem? The problem with the water situation, but also the illegal miners.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me, and good evening to your cherished listeners. Yes. So rightly so. Over the weekend we celebrated Odambia Festival, where the Paramount Chief of Ukusukum traditional area, in his test to put forward many other requests to the government through me and the regional minister, did indicate that he would actually plead with us to work things out so as to deal with the water shortages we find ourselves in our municipality. But the truth is that this perennial water shortages started some 9 months before the erstwhile MPP government came to an end, which means we came to inherit it. But when we came in, there was this perennial water shortage. Myself, Eric Stanley Alpha, Fantiman KK, together with my MP, Dr. Ebenezer Prince Kujai, we had to meet with the manager of the basic room water treatment plant center or station, where because we wanted to first of all appreciate what is causing the water shortages. So when we go to the center, the manager at the center gave several reasons for the shortages of water. One of such is as a result of the Galamsey that happens at the trust. So usually when the water falls or the rain falls, it's actually run over from the Absent area through to the dam that we have at the treatment center, bedroom in Mankasim. So as a result of these Galamsey activities, water is no more flowing through the various source points to the dam. So we engaged in, and it's like we appealed to the regional manager for water works. We even invited the Minister of Water and Resources to come. When they came, we also realized that it is not only the Galamsey, though Galamsey contributes almost about 80% of the water shortages. But there were also technical issues. One of such was the old machines that have been there for several decades without, repairs, without new installations and all of that. And so my MP, through his effort to the Water and Works Minister, was able to procure new machines for the treatment center at Magazine David Cool. And so water started flowing through the tap. But as usual, something that is ongoing, I'm talking about the Galamsey, because they have not stopped, doing the Galamsey activities or engaging in Galamsey activities in the so enclave. And so whenever the rain falls, instead of us to get a continuous flow of water from that end, we rather, do not get the water. And so getting the water almost every day has actually become a problem.
And do you have, Eric, do you have Galamsey in Infantiman?
No, please. But you see, when the rainwater falls, it actually draws from the various, sources point from the Ascent Enclave through to our district.
So you're simply bearing the brunt of what is happening upstream.
Yes. Yes. So they normally we source our water from those enclaves, from the Ascent Fosu Ascent Cross through the Ochi, where we finally store them at the water storage point, the dam, for the treatment, and then probably subsequently we do the supply to the various pumping sites. And so as a result of Galamsey, in the Apraso Ascent Enclave, we are unable to get enough water for treatment and subsequently for supply for the various homes.
Yeah.
And other
so you're seeing the face of the problem, and your people are suffering as a result of it.
Yes,
what for you as the MCE, the Municipal Security Chair, what do you think, having assessed the problem of Galamsey, it will take to end it so your people get clean water?
Well, you see, we are all of us must put our shoulders to the wheel in the fight against Galamsey, because this is something that is bothering all of us. Galamsey, though people intend to make their living out of that activity, but the kind of danger that it possesses to the citizens of Ghana and Infantima for that matter is just too much. It's just unbearable. And so we all of us are trying to advocate and sensitize, educate people that look.
Yeah, I mean by education, I mean you're dealing with criminals who are killing your people there. The suggestion is that you need very briefly. You need more drastic interventions to deal with this matter because you're dealing with criminals. The suggestion is that one way to deal with this is to have a state of emergency.
The activity is not happening in my.
No, I know, I know, but you're bearing the brunt of what is happening upstream. Your colleagues close to you in the other municipalities are also there. Would you support a state of emergency, for example?
Yes. In fact, I think all of us must come together. So I would engage my colleague MMDCs in those areas within the region, so that we all come together. Then we actually put our heads together as the chair of various security, councils, so as to bring all those who are engaged in illegal mining to book.
Thank you very much. And that's Eric Stanley Akwa, is the MCE there for Infantiman. And if you live in that area, let's continue the conversation on our many social media platforms. You can find that full report on our social media platforms. And Accra may soon be choked by garbage. The city's waste management system may be on the brink of collapse because members of the Environmental Service Providers Association are poised to strike, threatening to suspend operations over delayed payments. With a workforce of over 10,000 members and 67 official waste contractors, the impact is expected to be massive. Government is set to owe the service providers over 1 million cedis in arrears, spanning 3 years. Executive Secretary of the Association, Ama Entry, warned the government's inaction will plunge the city into a nightmare.
ESPA is therefore calling for urgent government intervention to address the mounting operational and financial distress confronting our members. ESPA has engaged with the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, as well as all relevant parliamentary select committees to facilitate payment of our members. Unfortunately, these efforts have yielded little progress. However, we call on the government to, as a matter of urgency, make payments to avoid a shutdown by the 7th November 2025. We therefore appeal to the government for the immediate release of outstanding payments owed to all waste management contractors by the 7th of November 2025. Without this intervention, service providers may be forced to suspend operations nationwide, a move that could trigger a national sanitation and health emergency. This measure, if taken, would lead to the outbreak of diseases such as cholera, typhoid, malaria, and many others.
And several traders at Agbogbloshie Market are set to face the law after ignoring repeated warnings to improve sanitation under the Clean Ghana campaign. The arrest came after a surprise visit from the Clean Ghana Task Force, and they've descended on the market to clear traders operating in insanitary conditions. Director of the Clean Ghana campaign, Florence Kuchi, says her outfit will not relent until sanity is fully restored.
Believe you me, if I remove this pallet, you see rotten yam inside the drain. They trade and then they push in the waste of the trade inside the drain and cover it up. In order not to leave it and go for them to come, we are carrying the things away. If we cannot arrest human beings, we'll arrest the product. The human being will follow the product and come.
And we're following the Clean Ghana campaign. It's across our social media platforms too. Now to the NSMQ. The 2025 National Science and Maths Quiz has reached its defining stage with 27 schools booking quarterfinal spots after one 8th phase filled with comebacks, heartbreaks, and brilliance. The results reveal strong regional trends. Schools from South and Middle Belt continue to dominate, with the Ashanti and Central regions leading the charge with 6 quarterfinalists each. Yet the absence of any school from the Northern region stands out, depicting enduring gaps in access and performance across Ghana's educational landscape. There's more in this report.
This year's results tell a compelling story of shifting academic ties and regional power play. While schools from the South and Middle Belts continue to make their mark, the Ashanti and Central regions stand tall, each producing 6 formidable quarterfinalists and reinforcing their dominance. The Ashanti region in particular celebrates 2 debutants making their first ever quarterfinal appearances, a sign of new strength rising from familiar grounds. Quiz mistress Dr. Anita Opon attributed the success to investments made in the regions.
I'm not that surprised because, as they say, Central region is the citadel for education, and we know Ashanti region has a lot of schools, especially the second cycle schools. It goes to say that the investment is very high.
So the investment is high there, but the challenge is in the northern part of the country. And you can catch that full report across the many social media platforms. And we're talking about the Central region, one of the big schools there, they call themselves Wegehe. Turns out that they've been competing. They've been very happy to just participate. Well, there's a lady in the studio with me who is a proud alumnus of that particular school, and she's been complaining to me off air She can't even recall the name of the school that kicked them out. Kicked them out. Hello, anyone, Mado.
Oh, the line is very bad, whoever. So I can't hear you.
You can't
very
hear me,
well.
okay?
Hello.
Let me clear my throat.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Network issues.
Network issues.
Network issues.
Oh my goodness. What happened to you people?
I don't know. You know, I can't.
Are you so proud of the school, though?
Of course. I mean,
proud.
Wesley Girls is Wesley Girls.
Really? Wesley Girls used to be Wesley Girls.
No, Wesley Girls is Wesley Girls.
Used to be.
And I get that, you know, NSMQs, of course, it's a big deal, you know, but there's competition, which is competition in a competitive setup.
Competition, which is competition.
Which in a competitive setup. And then there's school.
You go explain tire.
There's school and there's life and, you know, there's WASI and there's the products of. And it's not great that we're not doing well. I'm not going to, you know, run away from that. But it doesn't change that we're still the best to ever do it.
Yeah, you go explain tire.
I'm not tired. I can keep explaining. You know what I mean? I'm really not tired.
Which is competition.
Which is in a competitive setting.
Oh, I love that.
Live pure. We are speaking true. But anyway.
What do you have on Strong and Sassy?
Evans. So you know, last week we were talking about Monjaro and you know, losing weight on medicine. Now, you know, do you know something? I'm not afraid to grow old anymore.
Okay, why?
Because I can buy beauty. I can buy Botox, fillers, profile balancing. I can fill my lips. I can do injections which will make my eyes, you know, go
you
up.
Can prevent
I can
skin wrinkling.
I can bring, you know, it's crazy. So we're continuing with our Beauty in the Bottle series, but today we're talking about beauty treatments and how far, you know, that has come, but also I guess the freedom that it gives women if you can afford it though.
Yeah, what about men
expensive.
though? I mean, do you have anything for men?
I'm sure men can do everything that women can do too. So, you know, you can do fillers and profile balancing. I mean, why not?
Right.
You know what I mean? Why
know
not?
What you mean. You want to stay strong and sassy. Up next, with Doreen Boama Archery. That's the guest. And she's going to be spending time with Mado.
Yes, please. Thank you.